Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main math man, Mr. Shank, coming to you live from Mayfield. And in this video, we're going to be working on that IXL Section F.4 And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have pulled up for myself. I have that square roots list down below me, actually. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that, and I'm also going to have these two little boxes here, because what I can do is it will help me kind of isolate. And usually you can do this with your hand if you're working with paper, but I want to use this so that I can see I'm looking for two consecutive integers where a square root would fall between. So again, the square roots that we're going to be working with are not going to be perfect squares. However, we are still going to be using them. So in this first one, it says which two integers does the square root of 123 go between? So again, there's always multiple ways to do this, but the way I like to do it personally is I like to say, okay, I'm going to go on my square roots list. I'm going to say, okay, hey, I know that 123, that's going to be just above 121, which is a perfect square. And it is less than the square root of 144. And so what are those two results? Well, it's 11 and 12. So I'm going to claim that it's 11 and 12. However, I want to always also make sure I check my answers. So what I can say is, hey, what is the square root of 123? So I can say the square root of 123. Well, it's 11.09. Well, that is just above 11, and it is below 12. So it goes between those two. So notice how I work that through. Again, as always, make sure you can press pause, rewind, slow motion, whatever works best for you. So let's see if we can get this score up to 80 and maybe beyond. So it says which two integers is the negative square root of 26 go between. So again, make sure you're still using that list. However, you do want to make sure you're talking about negative numbers now. So I'm going to say, all right, I have 26. So let's clear that, and let me go 26. Well, that's going to go between 25 and 36, which is just 5 and 6. So I'm going to say that's going to go between, not positive 5 and 6, I have to make sure I say negative 5 and 6. So I'm going to say it's going to go between negative 5 and negative 6. Always double check. I have the negative square root of 26. That's just a little bit above 5, so that's going to say it's between negative 5 and negative 6. All right, very good. So now, where does square root of 85 go? Well, let's find 85. What number would, or what two perfect squares would 85 go between? They'd go between the only ones I don't have together. So it'd go between 81 and 100. So I'd say, okay, it's going to be between 9 and 10. Always double check. I have square root of 85. Again, on your wonderful paper, these are going to be all in one list, so make sure you're using that carefully. Again, this is just above 9, but it's still below 10, and so that's where it goes between. What about the negative square root, of 122? Well, I know that's going to be real close to 121, which is below 144, so it's going to go between the two integers. Again, these are going to be two consecutive integers, meaning they're back to back. So these two numbers have to be right after each other on the number line. So I'm going to say it's going to go between negative 11 and negative 12. Again, I can double check that. I can say negative square root of 122. That works out, and so we're good. All right, so now this is where we take it a step above. Again, in the notes, I kind of set these up just like this. So it says complete the following statement. Use the integers that are closest to the number in the middle. So again, make sure you're saying that these two values, whatever two numbers that you put in here, they have to be consecutive integers. So they have to be one after the other. So I'm going to say, all right, where is the square root of 36? Well, that's between the square root of 25 and 36, which is going to be 5 and 6. Make sure also too you're paying attention to those inequality symbols. I have to say that, hey, since I know that 6 is greater than 5, I have to have it going this way. However, if it's a negative number, make sure you have the lower number to the right direction. I should say the correct direction. So let's see if we get one like that. All right, so it says, same idea. Where's the square root of 21 at? Well, let's use these little thing. I can shift up a little bit. 21 goes between 16 and 25, and so we're going to say that, hey, that's going to be 4 and 5. All right, so now we have a negative square root. So let's see. Again, I can always use that calculator to double check, which I actually, let's start with that one just to give you another option. So I say negative square root of 118. All right, so it's going to be just below negative 10, and it's going to be between negative 11. So make sure, however, you order those correctly, because it's saying, okay, this is less than. So if you're thinking of a number line which is further to the left, is negative 11 further to the left than negative 10, you better believe it. So it should be negative 11 and negative 10. And let's use that wonderful square root list for ourselves. I have 118 is going to be below 121, but it's above 100, and so I know I'm good. Awesome. Similar idea. I'm going to say, all right, shift down a little bit further. It's going to be between 11 and 12. Again, make sure you're saying that these two values that you're entering in, those are consecutive. They have to be back to back. Keeping it going. It's still 11. It's still 12. Again, since notice how the square root, or excuse me, notice how 130, we're saying, hey, what two perfect squares does it go between? It goes between 121 and 144. Make sure you take the square root of each of those and get your values. Let's go, where does 42 go between, excuse me, negative 42 go between? It goes between negative 36 and negative 49. So that means that I have to have 7 and 6. Make sure, since you're talking about negative, I have the further negative to the left. So I'm going to say negative 7 and negative 6. Super. All right. Let's see if we can speed this up a little bit. I have 105, which is going to be 10, 11, 10, and 11. I have negative 113, still going to be 10, 11. However, make sure you have the further negative number to the left. So I'm going to say negative 11 and then negative 10. I did get it. How about a little bit smaller number or lower of a value? That's going to go between, where's square root of 7? That's going to be between 4 and 9, which is negative 3 and negative 2. Just about to hit 80. So now let's say, okay, which number is closest to square root of 105? So let's kind of use our Desmos Calculator for this one. So we want to say, all right, let's say square root of 105. And what we can do is we can say, all right, well, it's going to the first decimal place. So if you look at that first decimal place, we have 10.2. Awesome. So I'm going to actually stop at 80 here, because normally we're just going to look to go, we're estimating those square roots using those perfect squares that we always have. So make sure you are double checking using that Desmos Calculator. Use that perfect square list. Again, shift up and down on that square roots list for yourself. That way you can kind of isolate and see which two perfect squares you have, and then you'll see on the right side the two consecutive integers. As always, super slam that subscribe button.